Yeah, it's just whatever you feel is sort of that you want to share with anybody else. It's just sort of our way of creating a platform to share our own opinions and our own beliefs. And before beginning, I wanted to just ask you if you would. Oh, yes, of course. But also if do you consider yourself a spiritual believer or
I'm a
spiritual non-believer? And what's that?
Gnostic.
A Gnostic?
Not to be confused with, so Gnosticism. I'm not to be confused with someone who is agnostic, who is someone who doesn't believe in anything. In fact, it's the opposite, gnosis, which is the Greek root, which is knowing. So Gnosticism is about sacred knowledge. It's about truth. It's about light. It's about God. And
is there any one specific God or that you want to is with all due respect towards you?
Sure.
Of course, is there which religion? Is it a religion? And I know you just stated that
they will say so. Yeah. So the foundation of Christianity came in opposition to Gnosticism. As most good things must have opposition, so does truth. And you can trace that back to Constantine and the developing of the Bible. This is teaching before there were a managed scripture. That's Gnosticism. So I would consider myself an alchemist, and there is a God. And there's a such thing as the Tower of Babel, where the language was confounded and split, and so was the doctrine. And before that time, there was Gnosticism. And that's what I am. And to answer your question, there is a Most High God, which no one has ever seen, but there are many who are at the top. And everyone seems to pray to a different God, but it's all the same in the end. Yes. Yeah. There's lotion too. The lotion is really good.
Okay. I'll just spray it.
She's applying some DEET right now. So we're in the desert, which is my home, out at Mitri Lake, and she's my humble guest, and she's applying plenty of mosquito spray, but that's not good enough. So here, sure? Stand up. I got you. No, I got you.
Well, just because I'm
not going to spray on your skin.
No, okay, good, because I'm allergic.
No. It's better to be on your clothes.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Spin. Yep. There you go.
Thank you.
Yep. And in fact, this isn't DEET.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. This is
anything with DEET. I literally my whole face is swelled up.
This was made for you, and I'll let you read it.
It's been made for
you. For you. It's not DEET.
For people who are allergic to DEET.
Yeah. So there you go. This is actually DEET lotion.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you passed the test. You picked the right one.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And it smells pleasant.
Yeah.
Okay, getting back to it. I'm sorry about that interruption.
No.
I can I just say honestly, I absolutely love learning different points of view, because in my opinion, people have...
Thank you, Alan, for building that fire. Sorry to interrupt you.
You're good. He's a pro at it, look. He wasn't over there for very long. And also we have so I met Barrett through Alan, and
who's a great guy who I went to high school with, who I randomly met in the desert, but nothing is random.
3,000 miles away from home.
3,000 miles away from home. Nothing is random. This is not a random thing. And in fact, when I met Alan, Immediately when I went to my tent opening, there was a snake as a warning of pride. And the desert is a capricious lady. So
There was your sign. You're like, okay.
You must be willing to interpret the omens.
And so Alan, actually, I met Alan through Vicky, our actual host who isn't here with us. We love you, Vicky. And
I hope to meet you, Vicky.
I'm sure you will.
Nice.
But getting back to my point about so I've actually done some mild studying and a few courses about like different religions and like Middle Eastern religions was actually my course study, and just I dabbled on my own like free study on my own of different religions, because I'm just so interested and I'm so intrigued by the way that people interpret different things that I want to try to like create my own understanding. And I believe that everyone, this is just my own belief, that everyone interprets spirituality different and they experience it very differently. And that's why, you know, the saying goes that like everyone is special, so no one is special. But I like it depends on whether like your viewpoint is. Like, I do believe that everyone really is special. Everyone really is. They really have their own experiences. Like there's no one other person who's going to experience that same feeling and that same event in their way and feel it and view it that specific way. And that's my opinion. And that's why I've grown to have such a good, like, open-minded and love for people, because I've come to the point that I view, I believe that God is love, and that's what I refer to. Some people believe that God is the universe, or God is the same God in different religions, and different religions are worshiping the same God, but he's just under different names. And
I want to continue to hear what you have to say,
yes.
But as I, receive things, I want to be able to
express yourself freely. Go ahead.
Well, not myself. What is myself? But I'll let Alan Watts handle that one. I won't get into that. Not Alan, this Alan, but Alan, the great philosopher Watts. Okay. I will say that all the religions were confounded at the Tower of Babel. It's all God's word. It's all the gospel. It all has to come together in the end. The perspective of things are this, that there are many gods, but there is one Most High. And so a lot of times people misconstrue, like, for example, we hear a lot of stuff about Muhammad. Muhammad was just a messenger. He even said he was a messenger. But still, people hear about Islam, and then they say, oh, Muhammad, and they don't want to learn about anything. And simply this is, a lot of times a messenger is misconstrued as God to a fellow, to a Gentile or someone who is of another faith. And everyone thinks that their faith is the best, and they have something special. And that's the trick of it. And as you said, that everyone is actually special, and God puts everyone through their own paces and things that they need to interact in the way that they need to bring about a future that is the brightest for everyone.
So you do believe that the same way, that everyone is special and they do have their own experiences.
I do believe that everyone is unique. Is unique, and I'm using the terminology that you used of special, because I believe that ultimately that's what you mean, is that they are unique, and God created them to go through their own experience to be who they are. But like Buddhists believe, we are a combination of the experiences that we have in our lives, and that's what makes us, is our experience. But who who lays that foundation? And that's ultimately most of my beliefs. Before I came out here, I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was born in St. Augustine, Florida. My name is Barrett Scott Ryan Jr. Don't try to look me up. I don't have social media. And I was not a believer, and I had divine intervention. And you can't describe these things in a short-term situation without taking the whole show, which I don't plan on doing. And I'll say that there is a God, and whether you believe it or understand it or not, like you're a good person or a bad person, if you fall off of a building, you're gonna hit the floor. And there is a God. And ultimately, it's this. God has a story written for everyone, and they play the part that they choose. And when they become conscious of this story, then that's when they're in the driver's seat.
It's kind of like those novels you read as a kid where you have 3 options. Turn to page 47 for this.
Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys. That's what comes to mind.
You make this decision, and then you become savvy to the whole scheme.
Right.
And you start, manifesting your own destiny.
And you start flipping through all the pages and seeing all the things. And that's what the Illuminati's about. Yeah, that's what the Illuminati's about. But we won't go into the foundation of, our country or anything like that in this talk, unless you want to go that route.
I think that we should stay more
Yeah,
focused.
stay the course. Stay the course.
Yes.
I believe in that. Okay. So I'm going to let you just direct, and this is your show. And I actually love what you're doing. I think this is great. I love this.
Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
and actually today, to be honest, and I told Alan, I had a friend that I was going to hang out with, and I really felt the urge that I wanted to smoke weed. So all full disclosure here. And so, me and Alan, we hadn't talked in a minute. And, I had a lot of changes go on. I was at another camp, and things were very different. And, yes, that's what you do with that. You pound it into the wood if you want it.
Splitting, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that wood is really good. Sorry to switch on you.
So Alan saw a metal piece, and he's tapping it with a hammer.
I just love splitting wood.
Yeah, he's building a beautiful fire. So, but back on topic, I thought about Alan today. So, but before all that, this morning, I actually prayed for female companionship. I've been out here getting in touch with the natural man. I look at it in 3 ways. There's the natural man, the spiritual, and the intellectual. And there's a balancing game that goes on. And I've spent most of my life in the intellectual side. I've been naturally gifted with being a strong man, a strong, even boy, because of the challenges that I've received in my life. And I've abused those things, but I've always been smarter or different than people. And which goes the case of not being very spiritual. So the divine intervention happened, and then that balancing act began to take place. And because of all that, I came out here to the desert, not because I wanted to, but because I was called to. And I didn't know where I was going to go.
Do you mind if we kind of dabble a little bit more about that experience, about who you were before you had this spiritual experience?
Sure, yeah. So I owned a company, and I actually sold alarm systems. And I worked for a company that was in top 500. We were publicly traded in the stock market. I made 6 figures since I was probably 21. There was a few years that I didn't, but it's only because I had enough money in the bank account that I didn't really care about anything. Eventually I got to the point to where I was smart enough, probably around like 22, that I had people working for me and I didn't have to work. I either drove them around or stayed in hotels. I built branches for companies, and
power off.
And sorry, that was my speaker. And I was playing music earlier, but basically from that point, I was drinking a lot. But not just drinking, I was partying. You know, when you have money, you have friends, okay? And those friends are not real friends. And what do you give the man who has everything? You solve boredom. That's what you do. So, you know, I began to play video games and just do nothing but, you know, sit on my butt and accumulate wealth and material objects until things started changing for me. But basically, I mastered the secular world in my own right. That's who I was.
Do you mind if I ask what company? Because that's very interesting. How did you get into that?
So I will tell you how I got into it, and I'll tell you how I started, but I won't tell the company because the company recently got bought out by another company, and I don't know who has rights to what, and I still have...
Oh, you still keep tabs? Like,
I have a friend.
Oh, you do?
I have well, I say friend, he's more like a family member now, but when I met him, he had nothing, and he didn't work for me, but I helped him, and now he's very successful. He has 4 children. You know, his girlfriend is pregnant right now, and so for those reasons, I would rather not. In case this becomes very
completely fine.
big.
I was just
yeah.
curious.
So, but I started with ADT, and I started by going door to door. And I was 20 years old. I might have been 19, 20. I was on that line. But before that, I had lied and got myself into IBM. I lied about my age, lied about my education, and I got into IBM, and I was selling NetWeaver technologies for them and placing sources. And
so was this like before like background checks and stuff? Were like a
no,
thing,
I just have always been really good with people. God has blessed me with the ability to get in where I fit in, and I fit in everywhere. So, and that's just something that I abused for a long time because I didn't understand what those gifts were. And I knew and saw the world around me. So basically, I saw what people did, monkey see, monkey do, and I just perfected that. And I grew up around entrepreneurs. My dad was a business owner. My uncle was, he double retired from the sheriff's department in Florida. My uncle, you know, he helped run the Olympics in '96 and then went on to run like a Fortune 500 company. And then my other uncle, he's just a free spirit, and he's actually somewhere, I don't know where he is. But I grew up around strong male figures, and so, you know.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So,
that's really wonderful.
So the secular world was actually, I got a head start early.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so God blessed me in that sense.
I'm really
but
happy that you
but I
gave us
started
that.
with ADT.
Yeah, I'm happy you're giving us like this background and background info, so we can kind of get a idea of like who you really were. Like you were not spiritual. Like you like.
Oh no, I was all about the money, baby. Okay. Money, baby. K camp.
So what happened? Like what was it? Did you like go to a party one day, or were you just home? Did something tragic, extreme happen to you?
A bunch of acid.
Right?
No.
Did you do drugs? Like,
no, not at all. I actually was studying the Emerald Tablets. I was studying ancient Egypt. I was studying, you know, I
just
always
for fun.
No, I'd always been drawn to the pharaohs, you know, and I'd always been drawn to that power, and I wanted to understand it. And
that's so funny. Like I'm like weirdly like obsessed with Egypt.
Okay. Well, there's a reason for it. Yeah, there's a reason for it. And so as I started studying more, you know, and I came across the Emerald Tablets, you know, figured out the law of attraction, all those things. Yeah. But then I started to understand the basis for that. You know, the law of attraction is basically like training wheels for the emerald tablets, and it's all about alchemy and Hermeticism, which is actually the foundation of our country. And Hermeticism, which is also Greek, was started by Thoth in Egypt. So, I got involved with that. And then during that time, I actually had a revelation from God. I was scared out of my mind. And I didn't even know it was God at that point.
Oh, how neat.
Didn't you check yourself
Not
at the
neat.
hospital because you thought you were crazy?
I thought it was crazy.
Really?
My girlfriend at the time was freaking out. And to make her feel more comfortable, I decided that I would go to the hospital to get checked out. And they kept me there for almost a week, because they couldn't find anything wrong, and they wanted to make sure that there wasn't a fluctuation in my behavior or anything that was weird.
What do you think that they were looking for? Maybe like signs of
like
brain tumor?
No, schizophrenia.
Oh, okay. Oh, they were texting you
definitely
mentally.
psychologically. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. You have visions, this is serious. So, psychologically, like everything. They drew blood. They did everything. And I saw therapists. I saw psychiatrists. I saw everyone at UNC Hospital, which is one of the best hospitals.
UNC is based out in North Carolina?
Yeah, it's one of the best hospitals in the country. And so basically they were like, "You're good," and released me with no medicine.
What was this vision that really freaked you out?
Well, I won't go into all that because we can spiral. I don't want to snowball into a tangent of things. We'll just get onto the baseline of it.
Okay.
Which is,
what was
I had an intervention from God, and at first it was scary. And this is what a lot of people refer to as the warriors of light, if anyone is of knowing. And basically,
I don't know what the warriors of light is.
Your viewers might, if it's a podcast, right?
We have some viewers that maybe if you could put it in layman's terms.
Sure.
Because our platform is more for people who it's people who know spirituality, who are in it, and also those who are very curious and just coming into it.
Okay. So I'll say this: the best place to start is to pray. That's the best place to start. Is to ask God.
You said so. That's the way to understand the Kings of Light.
Warriors of Light.
Warriors Light.
Yeah. So it's very cryptic, and it's cryptic for a reason. I don't understand all the reasonings of God. Okay. And I don't presume.
Right?
Do what? I don't.
Nobody really knows.
Yeah. I have a pretty good understanding, but I wouldn't presume to know everything. I would just say that things do happen, and mostly they happen for a reason. Sometimes you ask for them. And a lot of times people define their current state of affairs by their past. And so they define who they are by their past as well. So they doom themselves for nothing more than what they've already had in their life. So the best way to go about this is to branch off to new horizons. And
may I ask? I'm sorry to interrupt, but
I love how you've gone into this this persona.
Oh, really?
I feel a persona. I like it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I don't even try. It just happens.
I know. That's why I like it.
Okay.
Because you're not trying, and that's why it's cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Maybe because I probably listen to thousands of podcasts myself.
Yeah, that's good.
So, I wanted to ask you, what exactly do you perceive as God? Like, how would you describe? Is it a him? Is it a her? Is it a light? Is it a darkness? Is it an energy? Is it a field? Is it high, low? What is your how would you describe it? It, him, her.
So that's a really great question. In fact, that's one of the questions that I find myself asking a lot and getting mixed answers on.
When you went into this vision, did you hear something? Did you, because you say you had an intervention with God. Was
First it was seeing, then it was seeing and hearing, but that comes with a pureness of heart, and that comes through baptism by fire. You get tested, and then after that, then you can see and hear. But eventually you want to not see and hear because it's overwhelming. It's too much to take in both worlds, especially at fast paces. And then eventually you want some normalcy to your life again to be able to relate and interact with the regular world.
If I can interject, as a doctor of physical therapy who studied neuroanatomy and the workings of the brain, and as many are familiar with our filter that we have in our brain that allows us to focus and be functioning people, humans, throughout any given day by blocking out all of the things going around us in the world. There's so much we can't see. It's because we have a filter on, and so that we can actually function. And without it, we'd go crazy. There'd be so much information coming into our brains all the time.
Correct.
We wouldn't know what to do with it. With all
Thank
that
you,
we see,
Alan.
all that we heard.
I'm going to smoke this cigar if that's okay.
You're
That's why,
completely fine.
There's current research going into the use of psilocybin from magic mushrooms, LSD, as replacements for the current SSRIs and other antidepressant drugs, because they are nature's. So let's use psilocybin as the most docile example. It is nature's natural serotonin mimic. Whenever it raises your serotonin levels, the levels come back down to normal. They do not go down below baseline, unlike prescribed medications that we manufacture.
And you're talking about they don't, taking...
And what my point with those is that they actually turn that filter off in your brain. They turn it down so that you're allowed more information. You're allowed more. That's why people see funny colors or they hear music differently, is because that filter in their brain gets turned down.
So you're saying that shrooms is sort of like it
Yeah.
elevates the...
Shrooms, like people use for spiritual experiences.
The best way that I can describe the experience is this. If you are blind, deaf, if you are Helen Keller, that is the normal experience of human beings. So a person who cannot hear a word or you talk to, and even Harvard defines knowledge as knowledge can only be proven as knowledge if it can be described in words. And so a lot of the things that you can see and that you can hear that are of not this world, and Jesus, I think, said it best by some of his parables, and when people asked him, why do you speak in parables, is because you have the eyes and ears to hear and to see, and if you don't, then it's not for you. And that's the thing also in this way, is words to define unseeable and unhearable things is very hard to define. Is that fair? Is that fair to say, or?
Yes. Oh, you're free to say whatever
Okay.
pleases you, whatever you, whatever is crossing your mind. So you said Jesus. So would you say that you do believe in Jesus? That Jesus walked the earth?
I would say that I 100% believe in Jesus, yes.
Okay.
Jesus is the Christ.
So what I believe, when I was studying different religions, like I've studied Buddhism, and I studied Catholicism and Christianity, the different types of Christianity. Ooh, that's very diverse.
Right, and so that would get me on a tangent about Mormons.
Yes, and my belief is that so I in a previous podcast I had mentioned that I had like a vision and sort of like
You had a vision.
it felt like a dream, but it really wasn't. It was because I wasn't asleep, but I was like awake, but I was in like meditation, and I didn't feel like I was here at all. I felt like I was just completely somewhere else, and I was there with God. And
Please describe that to me.
oh, it was so beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful, and it was very recent. It was about a couple, like maybe I would say.
What started you on
April,
this
March.
path? Was this the thing that started you on this path?
Oh, I have been like completely completely into like Christianity since I was younger. I took a break for about, I would say, maybe 8 years.
Okay.
Only because I was conflicted, because I was hurt by religion, by God, and by the people who believed in the greatest things of God.
Don't be hurt by God.
One of them one of them was supposed to be...
God is love, and you said it yourself.
Yes, but I was very confused because this one thing, that this one person was supposed to be the best and greatest light and example for the community, did something very horrible and dark to me. And
even Jesus picked grain on Sabbath.
But still, I was very young when it happened, and I questioned, and I ran away, and because I didn't understand, and because I didn't have anyone. In my own opinion, maybe I did, but at the time I didn't feel like I did. But I went away from it, and then I came back, and I thought, I'm gonna focus on me. I'm gonna find my path. I'm gonna find, the destiny that I'm supposed to have, that God has for me. I was telling myself, like, I remember when I used to love God and I loved things, and I would have all these types of talents. So I was like,
and then what happened?
I was really like going into it, and yes, exactly. Like I had a very dark interaction with a very, very, very like.
I call that slingshotting.
Completely dark.
Or rubber banding. Rubber banding, isn't that right?
Maybe on another podcast, or maybe another time, I can share with you exactly like the interaction that I had with this dark entity. You can kind of say, and
one-eyed.
No. Well, I could talk about it more later, but...
Snout?
No.
Well, tell me about it, because it's important. This dark entity, will you indulge me?
That's very strange that you would say snout.
Yeah. It's exact. It's not a kind of a thing. It's an exact thing. That's why I'm saying indulge me.
Okay. Just for our viewers listening, I want to express that I am no longer in fear of these things.
You should never be.
Exactly.
You bring your own devil.
Exactly. I agree with that. In my own understanding that we are everything around us. And that's what I wanted to kind of like mention earlier, is that I've come into this understanding that because God is love, and because we have love, because I feel love.
This is why some people call God Allah. It's the all.
Yes, and I am open to others' interpretations, but for me personally, and I don't want anyone to believe that this is somewhat like coerced, that I knew
Definitely
that
not.
He believed. I just want everyone to...
I just met her.
Yes.
and she's very beautiful and nice.
Thank you. So are you, Barrett.
Thank you.
And it's just sort of a coincidence that we kind of had the same understanding, that we kind of believe in that sort of Christian kind of based God. And
for the record, I don't believe in coincidence. But
okay.
Go ahead.
Very true.
So that's how you know.
Yes. And
this is not doctored.
But
I am a doctor. But go ahead.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But I do want to let everyone know that there's nothing to fear. When I do talk about these things, don't feel like anything dark is going to enter your room or enter you at whatsoever. It's not going to happen unless you allow it, unless you believe it, unless you feel like you want to create that for yourself.
And here's a secret. A positive thought is 10 times more powerful than a negative thought.
Beautiful.
So that should completely delete a lot of worry just right there. But the things that are negative that are inside you are to teach you something. And that is the essence of the warriors of light. There's your answer.
That's
Continue.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
So, for me, when I had that vision of God, He I'll come back to the dark part, but just really quick, I want to point out that when I had that vision encounter with my vision of God, He was a man, and I had said this previous on another podcast. our first one actually, our pilot.
That was Melchizedek.
That
was not God.
Well, he had appeared to me, and he said that he appeared in this form because this was the form that I would most understand, and I would accept.
Correct.
My message from, because
Maktub.
every other way, like I was trying to be so open-minded that I was trying to change my interpretation of what God was. I was trying to think of it as like a space, a universe, a dark space with stars. I was trying to think of it as that, like a universe, because I was still like unsure of what everything was. But then when he came to me, it was a full on, like, actually kind of like what you're saying, like an intervention. It was sort of like I was saying things without saying them, and he was answering without speaking either.
That's the soul of the universe. That's that's the language of the unspoken, which is what I was alluding to, which is those who have eyes and ears. Things are in parables because people who need to know or are of understanding can hear and can see. And that everything in the world and everyone is special in their own way. They are unique. That messages hit the ears and the eyes of everyone differently to lead them on their path to be enlightened and to gain consciousness.
Oh, I love that so much. That is absolutely perfect. That is perfect the way that you said it. Everybody's supposed to take a different interpretation because that is their path that they're supposed to take, and they don't need to, and nobody needs to feel pressured that they need to be going a certain way or a different way. And if you feel like you're having any type of like negative emotions or feelings, those arise because you need to reassess your surroundings.
I'm going to chime in here and say this. Your emotions are a gift from God to tell you if you're on track or off track with your desires and with the plan. And they're nothing more than what you should look at and define. And most people get caught in their emotions, and that's the dangerous part, is people get caught, they start eating their emotions, they become consumed by their emotions because they think that they can fight it, but they become what they think about the most. And this is a feeling universe. It's a feeling world. And basically from that feeling, you should then, like I said, there's a natural, there is a spiritual, and there is an intellectual. You need to balance that with your feelings and draw from that what is there to gain or learn from this experience. And then that's what that is.
That reminds me when you said your sort of trinity or triangle that you're referring to. It reminded me that like every person has male and female sort of, like testosterone and estrogen.
Estrogen, yes.
Mm-hmm. So you having that longing to have like a female companion or friend that you can converse with and share maybe conflicts or similarities with is very humanistic. But so getting back to the dark entity that I encountered, you said that you're very curious. I unknowingly I went to Maryland because I had a voice audition because I sing. And
you have a very nice voice.
Good
for podcasts.
You want me to sing, guys? You want me to sing?
No. Let's stay on track.
I'm joking.
No. I'll hear you sing later.
Yes,
I'm actually interested in hearing you sing. That's for another podcast. But
joking, guys, joking.
I'm not joking.
So I went to Maryland.
She liked the first song I played when she arrived, so yes. We're already friends.
And I just arrived like right before I
we literally just met. I played a song. She already knew what it was.
This was meant to be. This is for us, and it's mostly for your benefit, guys.
Again, follow the omens.
Okay, so I had went to Baltimore, Maryland, because I had a voice audition, and I was really excited about that. But I unknowingly ended up staying at one of the most haunted hotels in the East Coast.
That's called a tee-up. We call that a tee-up.
It was like so beautiful. I went in there and it was deserted. And I'm like, why is there nobody really in here? It's beautiful.
It's called protection.
I'm like, it's beautiful in here. And I'm like, why are people not staying here? And I love old hotels. Like, I love seeing, like, the history, like, feeling those bones and seeing that, like, just, like,
she used
old
the word
style.
bones.
And so, but, like, I was like, oh, right, I found something, you know, like, because I, like, when I, like, travel a lot, I usually stay at, like, Holiday Inn or La Quinta or something like that. But, I was like, I love to find, like, an old hotel. So I stayed here, and I had this experience. Woo! Oh, my Lord. And, like, there was, like, just to sum it all up, because I could go into talking about this for hours.
And we have to stay on track.
Yeah. We got about maybe 20 minutes left.
We can do 2. We can do 2.
We can do 2 hours? Okay.
Oh, she said 2 hours. Oh, okay.
I was joking. We do 1 hour.
We can do 3 hours. I don't care.
So,
I can talk, especially if it's about truth.
I love it. I love it. So, just to talk really quick about my dark interaction. I was in the room, and I had just gone off the phone with a good friend, and I couldn't sleep for about 2 hours. I woke up at 3, and I was awake until like 5, and that's when it was starting to get worse. I started to really feel it, and I started to feel like this really like weird dark energy beaming sort of off of this picture frame. And I just wanted to, like, at this point, no, I was like far as you could be, like, from accepting anything spiritual, because I had ran away from it. Like, I was not okay with it, and I just had my heart broken. Like, I didn't want, I was open-minded about maybe coming back into Christianity, but I wasn't ready yet. And then this happens, and I'm like really questioning it. So I'm telling myself, no, it's not real. Like, it's not real. I'm telling myself every lie everything that I can to not believe that what I'm feeling is actually happening. All of a sudden, I feel myself accepting that fear as my own. I don't know how else to explain that, but, like, I started to feel, like, very, very scared for my life. And all of a sudden, the room becomes very quiet. I don't know how.
Rubber banding.
I'm not sure how else to explain it, but it became very quiet.
How do you corral the sheep? The pharaohs, they always are depicted with a crook and a flail. See, the crook is meant to hit the sheep so that they are corralled in a certain way. But a pharaoh uses the flail to inflict any pain upon himself that he would also inflict upon the sheep. And that's love.
So, thank you for sharing that. That was actually really beautiful. So, when in the room, I've come to the understanding that it was a lower frequency type of being. And, so that's why it went silent, because there are frequencies on this earth, and
that's what some of the pyramids are for.
When there are, that's very interesting too. We could talk about that maybe on another podcast. That'd be really cool. So, like, the lower frequencies, that's why it becomes very silent, because that frequency, the waves. If you guys know anything about, like, radiology, the waves are very high and then low and very slow and very spread apart. The peaks are very spread apart. So, with that being said, it was silent. I felt the energy. I felt this sort of man enter the room, and right away, I have no idea what is going on. I'm just like, what is this? Right away, like, I can't see this guy, but I feel him. I feel him as if like you, Barrett, right now. I feel him just like you, but he was standing, and I was laying in bed, and like, I was laying flat in the bed.
What do you mean by? So this is very important for everyone, because we just met. So, what do you mean by you feel him like me?
So I was laying down, and if you were blind.
His name is Melchizedek, but go ahead. He's in the Bible, but go ahead.
If you were
He's
blind.
in the Bible mentioned twice, but people don't know. His name glosses over to most people.
Well, I've read the Bible like front and back.
You've read it front and back, so have you noticed Melchizedek in there?
Yes, I've heard of him, but
But you can't recall.
no, it's been a while.
There's a reason. So go ahead and tell me what you mean by feel like you feel me.
Okay, so I'm laying in bed and I sit straight up because I as if you were blind, as if you couldn't see, but you can hear, you can sense, you can smell. I had all of those sensations hit me all at once, as if he just appeared at the corner of the left of my bed. And I sat straight up, and I knew, for some reason, I knew right away that he was there to kill me. He was there to full on like
straight up. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, it sounds maybe like at the time I was so afraid that it literally felt like there was another person there, but this person could not read my thoughts. They could only read my feelings and my emotions. So I
went. Read your thoughts too.
But I didn't know that. So I went and I got my suitcase and I started packing it. And this is what I literally did. I grabbed my phone and I pretended to call a friend.
To make you feel better.
Well, no. He was standing right there in the corner of my bed. I knew where he was. He stood there and he watched me, and he waited until I felt a deeper fear. Until I began to feel afraid of him, because he was waiting for me. And
but it took a while to build. You were strong. You felt strong at first.
Yes. It was sort of.
Listen.
Yeah, we got some geese in the background. So yes, it was, for some reason I knew if I remained calm, I would be fine as long as I just get out of there.
No one will hurt you.
Yeah, so for some reason I knew that if I allowed myself to show him that I was afraid, that he would take that and I would be gone. I don't know why. Or maybe he was making me think that way. I have no idea. This is just my experience, and this is what happened. I grabbed my phone, and I called a friend. Well, I didn't really call a friend. I pretended to. I literally got my phone, pretended to dial in a number, because I don't know who to call. Like, who do I call about this weird-ass experience? And I put my phone against my ear, and I say...
She didn't want to seem crazy.
Exactly.
She didn't want to seem crazy. She was like, dang, I'm going to seem crazy.
So I put my phone against my ear.
God knows that the essence of man is vanity.
So I put my phone against my ear, and I just pretend. I literally pretend to talk to somebody. And I'm like...
I think it's going to help.
I literally go like this. Hey, girl. Yeah, I'm going to be... Oh, that's what's happening? Oh, my God. I'm going to be right over. I'm grabbing my things right now, and I start packing while I'm on the phone. And I zip it up, and I like grab my things, and I go out. I go out into the hallway, and I turn back, and I look, and he's still standing in the same spot watching me. And I shut the door. And I want you to pay close attention to this, because when you said snout,
Yes.
this is what happened next.
The dragon. Go ahead.
This is what happened next. I go to... You're hilarious, dude. So I go to the... I'm so, like my heart is racing, guys. I'm not, like, I can't... As your body, like, you can't really, like, fake these sort of reactions. My heart is racing. It's pounding, and I'm...
You can't even fake this experience.
I go to the...
You cannot fake this experience that's happening right now.
It's very true. So I go to the elevator, and I see this thing on the corner. It's like the best way that I can explain it, that I've explained it to my closest friends.
So thank you.
So it's on the corner of my eye. I see this thing. I'm thinking like, okay, like hopefully this guy is not following me.
That wasn't good enough? All right. We're going to step it up a level. Like, and you're like, okay, that's enough. That came through my TV. So after I got like the fairy parade, like all this other stuff that was just, anyway, I'll just say that.
Go ahead.
Imagine what you saw next, but coming through your TV when it's off. Black screen. You see your reflection in it. I had like a 60 or 75 inch TV in my living room. I was sitting there and I saw it coming across the screen and I was like, wow.
Okay. That's very eye-opening. I just, and I don't want anyone to be afraid. Please don't allow yourself to accept that.
No, it's just a part of the process. It's a part of the process.
We're just explaining things, and these are very good signs for you guys to hear, because you might have
it's the beginning.
Similar interactions.
It's called the wake up.
So I turn to the side, and I see this sort of like, the best way that I could describe it is like a floating, very silhouette-y, like gray sheet, but it also has this beak, and it has 2 points at the very end, just like a beak, like a bird.
Right.
And it has like this beak straight forward, but when it moves, his beak starts to point different, like diagonally, how do I explain it? So I can show you, but like for people who are just listening,
I'm going to show you pictures of my bird, by the way.
Okay, so when he's flowing, I don't see a face. I don't see anything but like this flowy sheet and a beak, and
that's Puffy. He's right here. He's a great-tailed greckle.
Where?
That's him.
This bird.
Yeah. That's no.
Hold this, please. Let me.
Hold on.
No. Before I see pictures, I want to explain it before I see your pictures.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so, So I see this beak. I see this beak, and when he's moving, and for some reason I don't know if it has a gender or not, but it seemed like a he, and while he moved towards me, he floated. There was no feet. Behind him was sort of like this flowy sheet, kind of like silhouette. And different oh my god, you guys, and like different like while he moved, his beak like went in all different directions in the sheet. It was sort of like this.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
And I find that very strange that you know that, because it's just very strange for me.
Oh.
So I see this, and I grab my suitcase, and I'm like, I'm taking the stairs, because they're right behind me. So I grab my stuff. I go take the stairs, and I walk down. But I walk down very, very calmly. I don't exude any sort of physical appearance that I am afraid. I do my best to do that. And I come down, and I'm about to like drop my car key, my room keys off. And like to tell the whoever's at the front desk, like, I'm leaving.
I love how descriptive you are too.
And there was nobody there. Like, they were in the back. I have no idea where they were, but I was like, I left my room key there, and I was like, boom, I'm out. I'm done. I'm checking out. It's 6 a.m. at this point. I already called myself a Lyft, because this is not my home. I don't have a car.
Yeah.
So I call myself a Lyft, and I go over to like the nearest new hotel. And when I get there, long story short, this sort of a beaky thing followed me. The man from the room did not follow me. He was bound to the room. He was bound to the hotel. And
that's what it would make you feel.
Yes, and the beaky sort of thing, he stood. That's why it was strange. That was so weird that you just showed me that picture of the bird with his head straight up, because that's how he stood outside my hotel room. He stood like this. Mm-hmm. Like, just, this is all I saw was like this black. It was black too. It was very black with a point, and it was sort of like just a very, very tall point. If you were to think of like a very pointy hat, but very tall, and it touched from like the ceiling down to the floor, sort of like a triangle, but not really. Like the bottom is like cut off, Mm-hmm. So just to give you the summary, I had something great and powerful come over me. I made a declaration that I believed in God, and I was accepting it because I didn't know what else to do. Like, I don't know what to do. I was like, I believe in Jesus. I love you. I believe in love. And then
Psalms 94. So
I went and I was just like, I declared and I told that thing on the other side of the door, he had no authority. I told him to leave.
94.
I told him that I have the power, that he had to listen to me. And I took control. I took control of the moment. I took control of my life. I took control of what I was feeling. And I just basically just like spoke like a crazy person into air. I was like, I'm pretty sure my neighbors were like, who is this crazy woman? She's like shouting. I was shouting because I like wanted everything to hear, everything around me.
This is Psalms 94, if you want to read it for the viewers.
So Psalms 94 in the King James Version says, O Lord, to whom vengeance belongeth, O Lord, to whom vengeance belongeth, shew thyself. Lift up thyself, thou judge of the earth, render a reward to the proud. Lord, how long shall the wicked triumph? How long shall they utter and speak hard things, and all the workers of iniquity boast themselves? They break in pieces thy people, O Lord, and afflict thine heritage. They slay the widow and the stranger, and murder the fatherless. Would you like me to read the whole thing?
Yes, please.
Is it very long? Is it lengthy? No, it's not.
It's long enough.
Okay.
It's exactly how it's meant to be.
So they slay the widow and the
very
stranger.
few of those
and murder the fatherless.
Here, rewind a little bit. Sorry.
They break in pieces thy people, O Lord, and afflict thine heritage. They slay the widow and the stranger, and murder the fatherless. Yet they say, O Lord shall not see, neither shall the God of Jacob regard it. Understand, ye brutish among the people, and ye fools, when will ye be wise? He that planted the ear, shall he not hear? He that formed the eye, shall he not see? He that chastiseth the heathen, shall not he correct? He that teacheth man knowledge, shall not he know? The Lord knoweth the thoughts of man, that they are vanity. Blessed is the man whom thou chastenest.
Yep.
I haven't known chastenest. O Lord, and teachest him out of thy law, that thou mayest give him rest from the days of adversity, until the pit be digged for the wicked. For the Lord will not cast off his people, neither will he forsake his inheritance. But judgment shall return unto the righteousness, and all the upright in heart shall follow it. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers, or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? Unless the Lord had been my help, my soul had almost dwelt in silence. When I said, my foot slippeth, thy mercy, O Lord, held me up.
You asked for it. And what did he do?
In the multitude of my thoughts within me, thy comforts delight my soul. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? By a law. They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous, and condemn the innocent blood. But the Lord is my defense, and my God is the rock of my refuge. And he shall bring upon them their own iniquity, and shall cut them off in their own wickedness. Ye, the Lord, our God, shall cut them off.
Those are my bats. You hear
those?
Really? Yeah, those are bats. I hear those bats. They're eating the mosquitoes for you.
Thank you, bats.
Yes.
Thank you, buddies.
Them. And the spiders.
But I just to end the story, it went away, and that was where I was like, okay, I'm not gonna fool around anymore. I'm not gonna run away anymore. Obviously, I can't, and this is still gonna happen to me. So I might as well embrace whatever is going to happen.
Amen.
And it became more than just Christianity to me because of all of my
it's called Gnosticism.
studies. all of my studies, I just didn't believe completely everything about Christianity. I didn't.
Amen.
And just the way that people taught it, and with that being said, just therefore also other religions, the way that they're like presented by other people who call themselves like teachers or preachers, something always felt off with and it might not be everybody, but everybody that I've met as a preacher, as a priest, or someone who was like of high authority within that religion, always seems so ingenuine, always seems so self-seeking, although that they proclaimed that they were very selfless and it was for the better of everybody else. But so that was my experience, and I do want to say, like, a lot has happened since then, and I've reached this sort of enlightenment about, that those dark parts are somewhat a part of you. Like, whatever you see, you will allow into your life, that's a part of you, and Alan over here is a part of me, and Barrett is a part of me. When I see, they're just mirrors and reflections of myself.
We're brothers and sisters of God.
And honestly, we've been saying God, but it really is whatever anybody else interprets, in my opinion. It is what everybody else interprets.
It's the beginning. Listen, this is my views and opinions, which are that whatever you believe, faith is good. That's the first step. And
faith in anything, really.
No, but listen, Dr. Martin Luther King said, to get to the top of a staircase, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Just take that first step. And whatever that step is for you, I believe is all that matters, that you build your faith. And God will reveal himself to you. And whatever God chooses to reveal him or herself onto you, that's for you and you alone. And that's all that matters, because, like she said, you're special. And I said, you're unique. And we all have a plan. And whether you believe it or understand it or not, there are laws that are so precise that we can land people on the moon with a fraction of a second, and that, we can do all the things that we do in surgery. And the point is, follow what feels good to you, ultimately. If it feels good, keep doing that. And if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. And eventually you'll find yourself on the right path. But if you're feeling bad, put on a piece of music that you love. Whatever music you love, play that music. Get into that state of mind that makes you feel good, and then follow that into something that's also wholesome. That's the trick in this world today. Put that energy into something wholesome.
So you're saying that we have control of how we feel, whether we feel happiness or
that's what I call wrestling.
We have control of it.
We have free will.
Whatever we decide.
We have free will. But free will, definitely, it's the challenge to gain consciousness, true consciousness. You have to break that barrier and wrestle with the things that ultimately, so Shambhala, the sacred path of the warrior, says that, fearlessness is not the absence of fear. It is actually the acceptance of that fear, which is exactly what she described to me in her story, which was exactly what I knew took place. Because it's exactly what took place for me, and would take place for you if you ask for God to come into your life. But sometimes God calls people in a quickening, especially if you pray. But go ahead. Go ahead.
No, please.
No.
We're coming to the end of this podcast, so I want you to share any like last thoughts that you want to express yourself. Leave.
Sure. Next episode.
What about next episode?
User suggestions.
Next episode. As in if you want to hear more and you pray that maybe I'm going to hear something from me this time. Maybe something's going to speak to me directly. Then listen to the next podcast with me on it.
All right, guys. You heard it from Barrett. He's saying that there's more to come. So if you feel like you really found a connection, you really sort of kind of relate to his story and relate to everything that he's been sharing.
You don't have to relate.
Oh, thank you. It's true.
You definitely don't have to relate, but you can be interested. And even you can be fighting interest. That's okay too. But
so we're welcoming all haters.
I challenge you to debate him. He's a very good
Listen. I don't. There's no debate and there's no competition. I don't want to play games. Or there's already a game that you're playing and it's called life. And if you're listening to this, life is calling you. So you're meant to be here, whether you like it or understand it or not. So that's when you can also tune back in with a better attitude and pray about it. That's called repentance. And that is the only thing that Jesus, who is the Christ, asks you to do for your sins is repent. And you're forgiven.
So,
amen.
Thank you, Barrett.
Yeah.
Thank you. Really quick, if you're wondering what prayer is,
Thank
prayer
you.
is just like a deeper thought, a deeper feeling. It could be interpreted as, you taking a physical action, such as crossing your fingers together, lacing your fingers, and getting on your knees and saying like a vocal message, or it can be you with a simple thought as a prayer, making a deep intention and connection with emotionally. Or it could be simply, if some people are into meditation, which I'm very much into meditation. So if you were wondering what a prayer might be interpreted as. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I'm excited for our next one.